Hey guys, it's Avi's mommy, and take a drive with me after dropping him off at school because we've got a lot to talk about. Not a lot, but we've got some stuff to talk about. So I know I said that we were going to do an interview with my sister, but conflicting schedules. She's got 2 kids. One of them is in school, and they're an hour behind Houston time, so we're trying to get that all figured out. We'll get it settled one of these days. But in other news, Avi got a haircut, and it's super exciting because, as you know, and as we've talked about, Avi can be tender-headed. He's got some sensory issues, and one of the sensory issues is his head. Over the past couple of years, with his hair growing and having to comb it back into ponytails, and he's gotten used to the feeling of a brush and the water, so he's done really well with getting his hair combed. But I was noticing, because his hair is so thick and it's got a little wave to it, his hair was just getting more and more tangled. So that, and he with ponytails, and women, a lot of women will understand this, is if you continuously wear a ponytail every day, you start to develop like a tension alopecia at your hairline, because your ponytail, combing it, pulling it through and pulling it back, it starts to pull at your hair follicles, and it starts to create hair loss in the front. So I started noticing he had a little pocket of hair loss. So it was time. It was time for him to get a haircut. We had taken him to this place in Sugar Land called Snippets. I would strongly suggest this as a great place to take your children for a haircut. They cater to kids. They cater to kids with special needs. They have sensory toys. They have cars. They have TV screens in each little booth. The design of it's really fun, really friendly for kids. The staff there, very patient, very educated. They know really like how to maneuver around and keep your children calm. So Snippets in Sugar Land, I give it a thumbs up. We were probably there for like 15 minutes tops with Avi getting his haircut. So it wasn't a very long process. He has had haircuts in the past. The most recent being over a year ago. We hired this service through Miss Jelly, who I found on the Facebook Marketplace. But Miss Jelly's in high demand, and Miss Jelly comes, Jelly Robinson is their name, and they come with their own service vehicle. I'm not sure if they still have the trailer, but when they came to cut Tommy's hair, they had a trailer that had TV, it had a sofa, it had toys and sensory pads, and the kids could color on any surface they wanted. They were very catering to providing good haircuts for children with special needs. However, it is on the pricier side, because you have to understand that this person comes to you and you don't go to them, and because they are like the only person that I'm aware of that does this, they're in very high demand. So that was the last time Avi got his haircut, and right now when we just cut it, we cut off 6 inches if not more of hair, and that's thick, beautiful, wavy hair that we got rid of. But we have had haircut experiences in the past that have been really like horrible. When we first got back to the States, we took him to this place called Sports Clips, and that was just because it was whatever was closest to us, and we were unfamiliar with the area. We just wanted to get his haircut, and that was traumatizing. The person was not patient. They didn't have the tools required. They didn't even have like a special chair to put him in. Like, it was a very bad experience, and at the time he wasn't as adjusted, I would say, to getting his haircut and having his his usual, like, what it is to get his hair done. So it does take time and it takes patience, but now we're going to be making this like a regular thing. Maybe every 2 to 3 months we'll take him to go get a trim, just keep it maintained and get him more adjusted as time goes. The only time that he really did have an issue with it was when the clippers came out. he does seem to have an issue with the sound and possibly the feel of clippers. He doesn't like the sound of blow dryers, the sound of clippers, just like those droning, buzzing sounds. Even before, when we, in our previous apartment with the dryer, he didn't like the sound of it, and he would go and he would open it to make it stop. But these are things, of course, that we have to adjust to, and we have to, make do. And at some point, hopefully he'll adjust to that as well and get used to it. So yeah, there's that. I'll post pictures of the before and after, because it's such a different kid now. He looks older. He doesn't look like a little wild boy anymore. Before, he was like Animal from the Muppets or the Wild Thornberrys, Donnie, if you're as old as I am. But now he looks so much like more grown. It's insane to see the difference in him. I look at him all the time and I'm like, dude, you're not my kid. What else is new? So also, we are in the process of switching him pediatricians, and it sucks because he just had his 90-day evaluation with a therapy, and they need the authorization to continue therapy from the pediatrician. And I've just been cut from my previous pediatrician because they've gone to concierge service, and the concierge service comes with the fee. It's ridiculous. And because Avi is on Medicaid, it's taken me a minute to find Medicaid accepting pediatricians in this area, and he has a Mare group. So all these different branches of Medicaid and who takes what, it's just so mind-numbing sometimes, because you're on the phone and you're calling, you go and you submit the online forms and you wait for a call back and they don't call you back, or they're full and they're not accepting new patients, whatever it is. It's just like a continuous thing. So hopefully this new pediatrician will be great. If you guys are in the Houston area, your kid has a Mare group, and you have a great pediatrician suggestion, drop me a comment down below and let me know who your kid's pediatrician is, because we have his first appointment on Friday, and I want to make sure that this person is going to be, someone good for him. On to the next thing. What was it? My videos aren't as consistent as they were before. Before I was posting 2 times a week, and now I'm kind of doing my best to post once a week. I'm trying to get content for you guys, and I'm studying. I mentioned it before, but I put a pause on the studying because the information that I was getting, the course that I was taking, unfortunately had a lot of misinformation, and I wasn't a fan of it because it was a lot of like QAnon stuff, I feel. And not so much like QAnon, but just like anti-vaxxer rhetoric. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I strongly believe in taking care of our babies and giving them the best life. I'm not gonna sit here and say like vaccines don't cause autism. Autism comes from a lot of factors, whether it be genetics or, maybe problems during pregnancy or birth or after. I feel like this anti-vaxxer rhetoric can be very harmful to a lot of people. There's a lot of factors as to why Avi may or may not have autism. It definitely seems like it's more of a genetic thing based off of my other family members that have autism or ASD or, low needs, high needs. But I don't feel like anything else has contributed to what his needs are. And I feel like if I continue to study underneath this, in this class, it was just gonna, I didn't want to spew back the information to you that I was getting. If you have or know of any courses that I could take, whether they be, YouTube or Udemy, share them below. I am always interested in learning because I have a child with a special need, and I want to be the best parent that I can be for him. So, and I want you guys to also understand, there are needs that we got to meet for them, and there's ways that we can help them learn and grow and adjust. And it's something that I just want to share, and I want to educate as well. So if you know of anything that I can use, any kind of guides or videos that I can use, drop the link down below, and I'll look into them and I'll see if I can study them. It is still April and it is still Autism Awareness Month, and I wanted to share with you guys this film that I saw probably back a year ago, and I believe it's called The Reason I Jump, or This Is Why I Jump. And the film made me cry, but because it was so relatable and it's so interesting. It takes the point of view of not just one, but different culture, different ethnicity, different learning capabilities of autism, and coping with autism, and parents and their journey with autism. And it goes through the different ages and stages. So if you're interested, that film, I believe I saw it on Netflix. If not Netflix, I'm sure you could just Google and find out where it's at. But The Reason I Jump, or This Is Why I Jump. And it is so informative, and it is so interesting, the different capabilities of communication for people who are nonverbal. There are, people who develop limited language. As we talked before, Avi is learning a lot of vocabulary, and he's learning how to use that vocabulary appropriately and how to point and do things to communicate. However, there are some people who don't develop language, and sometimes they use American Sign Language or sign language. And that's also extremely helpful. The ability, I'm 35 and I know maximum like 5 phrases or 5 words in ASL. However, ASL to a person who is nonverbal is extremely important. So it doesn't just mean that the person is deaf or mute. It means that the person has a limited language and needs a new form of communication. So there are people in this documentary who have limited language and they learn sign language. There's also this incredible piece about individuals who don't learn sign language and they have limited language, but they have the ability they know their letters and they know their numbers. So they carry around a number and letter chart with them, and they communicate by spelling out words, which is incredible, because I think they developed this skill like I want to say somewhere in their 10s or teens, and they honed in on it. They learn how to communicate by sitting there and pointing at the letters to be written out to communicate their needs. That's incredible. Communication, it's not just spoken word, and as inclusive as we can be is important, because as we get older, we realize that languages are different. We meet people from different cultures and we have to find ways to communicate with them. I have an aunt who is hearing impaired, and she writes things down. A lot of people in my family, they speak ASL. They know how to sign. So she is able to communicate with them. For me, she's not able to communicate. So she'll either text or she'll write things down to communicate. With my son, I hope that at some point his language will develop and we can, find the best form of communication for him. It's going to take time. I'm not in a rush. But that also brings me on to my next point. I want to know, with therapy, if you have family or kids in therapy for ASD, how do you implement the things that they're learning in therapy at home? Because we are doing our best. Every day they're teaching us different forms of, how to do rewards by mimicking, by repetition, teaching him different gestures so that he can see what's positive on how to follow instructions. So positive reinforcement by him following instructions. And it's great. It's working. But I sometimes feel like I don't follow through on everything. I sit there and I try and teach him colors, and I feel like sometimes it sticks. I sit there and I try and teach him ABCs and his numbers, and I feel like that sticks. He gets lazy sometimes and he just shuts himself completely off. He disassociates and he doesn't want to communicate at all. So he just won't sing. He won't, tell me his ABCs. He'll just disassociate and do his own thing, which I get. you get overstimulated and you just want to just back away from the world. But when you're trying to implement things at home, what are the resources that you use? Sorry. Because I always am looking for ways to improve myself as a parent. So if you have, you know, devices that you use to help your kid, I want to know. Leave it down below in the comments. Share with me any kind of resources that you have. Oh man, I want to learn, and my schedule sometimes I get overwhelmed in my schedule, and I kind of just push everything away. But right now, I'm really pushing myself to learn a lot more, and I want you guys to communicate with me. I want you to share with me what you know, and I want you to share this video and these videos and this channel with people that you know may also have resources, or they themselves are a parent of a child with ASD, or they themselves have ASD. So like and subscribe, and then share it with your friends. Leave a comment, because I just want to get some feedback, man. I can't do this alone. I'm trying to provide you guys with education and content, but I'm juggling air right now. So share with me your stuff, share with me your resources. Don't gatekeep. I'll talk to you guys soon. This was just an update video, but I'll post some pictures of Tommy and video of Tommy so you guys can see, and I'll also share some shorts on the channel. Talk to you soon.